Hey, good people, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Yes, it is 2026 and your girl is back. And let me explain real quick how moving from Georgia to Houston, okay, was not your girl's original plan. It was not. But it was the plan that God had in mind for me. So, this video that I'm going to share with you is going to explain how obedience sometimes feels messy, is absolutely scary, and still necessary for my family. So, welcome to my channel. If this is your first time joining me, my name is Kimmy. I am a mama of five who is rebuilding her life one step at a time with God, faith centered lifestyle at its best. And today I'm sharing with you how God led my family from Georgia to Texas. So pull up a seat, baby, because this is going to be a good conversation. So let's be clear. I did not wake up knowing that I was about to come to Texas. Okay. I did not. It had been at a place where it crossed my mind March of 2024. And that happened right after the Lord told me to leave my 9 to 5 job and put in my notice. And He told me specifically, leave it without anger. That was real interesting because I had been going through some things at that job and I was trying to figure out, like, okay, was I going to stay? Was I going to keep enduring? Was I going to go? So I'm sitting in Sunday service and the message is on something completely different. That's why I know it was nothing but the Holy Spirit, because it was so unusual that I went up at the end to the prayer partners and I was like, listen, I'm sitting in service and I heard the Lord tell me to leave my job, but I don't want to step out of the will of God. So I want to make sure that somebody pray with me and touch and agree, because if I leave this job, I have nothing. Like at this point in Georgia, business had dried up. The job market was starting to dry up. My rent was getting behind. My car was still broken down. My marriage had fell apart, even though we called ourselves trying to reconcile 2 or 3 times. It just, the reality of it is, when God said that it was enough, it was enough. And so in March, when He told me to leave my job, me and my daughter had already kind of been pondering. We were like, hey, we've been in Georgia for about 9 years. At this point, my husband and I were separated. We have been separated for over a year. And so it was just me and the kids. And we're like, we are tired of this. We want to be out of here. And so we started looking at different places. In December of the year prior, we had went on our first vacation to Florida, and so we fell in love with Florida because me and my kids love the beach. Who don't like a good beach, right? So I was just thinking about what the beach does for me and how it brings me peace, and I'm like, I could really entertain the idea of moving to Florida. Florida was always in my back pocket, but I wasn't 100% sold on it, right? But then Houston, if I really think about it and be honest with you guys, Houston came up a few years ago. It really did. And I think maybe about 3 or 4 years ago, I remember talking to my husband about Houston. He was like, I don't know. I don't want to go to Houston. What is it about Houston? I'm like, I don't know. It's just someplace different. But it did cross my mind. Now that I'm thinking about it and talking to y'all, it crossed my mind about 4 years ago, right? And sometimes we so busy. This is how we miss God talking to us. So now that I'm thinking, I'm like, Lord, forgive me, Jesus, because you were talking to me then, and it was so still and subtle, and everything around me was just crash, crash, boom, boom. I didn't even recognize that you were talking to me then. So I probably stayed in the situation, stayed in the environment, stayed in that place way longer than I should have stayed in there. So, man, another thing to pray on. Like seriously, we gotta get to a place. So let's get back to the story. So anyhow, I had remember my friend Sharon, one of my besties, what up girl, had told me to go on to this content creator class. There was a girl who was in Houston who was doing this class, and so I signed up for the class because Y'all may know, I do content and I create content, and media is just my family's thing. It's just what it is. Like I hid from it for a very long time, but no longer. But I attended this workshop, and in that class, when I came out, I connected with some of the ladies that were speakers in that class. And so one of the ladies was in Houston. She has a business there. And so I reached out and I said, "Hey, I'm thinking about moving to Houston. I don't know nothing about it, but I'm just thinking about it." I know over a course of time, I had a younger cousin that lived here in Houston, and I would reach out to her like, "Girl, tell me about Houston. I'm gonna come visit Houston." Not even knowing, y'all, not even knowing, because it was never my heart's desire. It was just kind of one of those things that came out that you didn't have to really think about. And so it kept coming up in conversation. Once again, now that I think about it, I kept telling my cousin I was going to come visit Houston. Well, she ended up moving back to the DMV. So she ain't even here, right? But I reached back out to that lady, and then I had a girlfriend from when I lived back in Virginia who actually been living in Houston, and I've kept in contact with her. I mean, we've known each other now for about 16, 17 years. And so I was in this place of literally, I want to leave. And then me and my husband try to connect again and get reconciled. And so that was a big distraction. Like, that was like all those plans of me wanting to go to Houston or Florida or move somewhere in those places. He wanted to also leave, but in a different place that I didn't want to live. And I wanted to go in different places he didn't want to live. So we couldn't even come in agreement with that. And so at the end of the day, um, I remember going on a fast. My good friend Talitha, hey girl, my good friend Talitha, she sends me this fast, and she's like, "Listen, they're going on a 5-day fast. I think you need to go through and check this out. And if there's something that you want to participate in, then here's the information." And so I chose to partake in the fast. And y'all, I tell you, on my second day of the fast, I literally had a come to Kimmy Jesus moment in my bedroom at the house. By this time, my rent is 3 months behind. My landlord is so gracious to not, he knew the situation, his wife knew the situation, because I've always kind of been honest with them, right? And so for a very long time, I was embarrassed, doing all that I can, y'all, creating the books, creating the courses, putting it out there that I could do this and put it out there that I can do that. But what God reminded me is the same way that things were drying up in Georgia was the same way they dried up in Virginia when he was preparing us to leave. And so, as I begin to adapt my mindset to that perspective, I begin to see clear that he was drying it up. Like there was nothing that I could have done different to stay in Georgia. God was like, "I am stripping away every opportunity from you. I don't care who you connect with. You are not going to do nothing else here. This season is done." And so when he confirmed that, I went on that fast for 5 days. The second day, keep in mind, when me and my daughter was back in March, we looked at Florida and we looked at Texas. Now, why I know this was God is because there was a specific city in Texas that her and I just we looked up and we started researching, right? And I remember telling her and having a conversation like, if we leave, it's got to be in a place that's similar to where we are, that I can afford, that's going to have opportunities, not too far out from the city, but not too close to the city, because I'm a suburb girl. Call it what you want to. I just don't want to be in the middle of the inner city. No knock to the ones that love it life, but that ain't my life. Your girl likes her quiet and her privacy. And I like to be able to go in the city when I feel like it and get out when I feel like it. Okay? All right. So at the end of the day, we have been researching this place. Now, remember the girl I told you in the master class, and remember my friend. I contacted both of them on the second day of my fast, both of them. I asked the girl, "Hey, I met you in this master class. Remember, we were talking and I told you that I was thinking about coming to Texas." After I had my come to Kimmy, come to Jesus moment, where I said to myself, like, "Kimmy, you have been literally," this was my conversation. "Listen, girl, you need to make a decision. You have been literally operating out of the spirit of confusion, and that don't come from God." Like, literally, this is my conversation standing in my bedroom. I said, "So make a choice. You got to make a decision right now. Is it going to be Florida or is it going to be Texas?" So I sat down and I was like, why would I go to Florida? What is the real reason? And the only thing I could think about is the beaches, not knowing that where I moved to, there's beaches all around me because I knew nothing about Texas. So I was like, well, if it's just the beach, like, nah, I can't see myself living there. So I was like, forget it. All right, Texas is what it is. That's what it is. I'm taking all other options off the table. I'm going to focus on Texas. Let me get on the phone. Let me start making my phone calls. Now, keep in mind, all the stuff that's happened in my marriage with my family has flipped me upside down. My credit is a hot flaming mess. Car is broke down. I don't have no job. I don't have no money saved up. I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, none of it. My nonprofit is not thriving. I'm not able to coach ladies like I need to. My clients are not available to pay for the service. Like, when I tell you dried up to the bone. But then he reminded me of Isaiah 43:18. Don't you see? I'm doing a new thing and it's springing forward. Can you not perceive it? I will give you water in a dry land. He said he will give you what you need when everything else is dried up. And for the first time in a long time, I felt like I was getting some kind of clarity, right? Because the enemy would play with your mind and he would try to make you feel like, oh, you did something terribly wrong and this is punishment. The reason why you can't pay your rent, you being punished. And here my kids are looking up to me. They're like, Mom, and I'm warning my kids, like, listen, y'all, the resources ain't here. Y'all got to get yourself prepared. And I kept telling them for months, and they're like, we know, you say we're moving. And they had that attitude, I believe, because they've seen me do it and work it out and fix it so many times. But this time was different. The last time that somebody helped me pay my rent internally, I felt like there's not going to be no more help. I felt like that was it. But I was trying to hold on for my kids' sake so that they can have a peace of mind. I didn't want them to be uprooted to another place, all the things. Did it for everybody before the reason why I needed to do it. And as a result, it hurt me. And I'm famous for doing that, y'all. I'm famous for putting myself out there, sometimes loyal to a fault to the point where I look up and I'm the one that's dealing with the consequence of me just trying to stay and trying to do and trying to be. Well, in this season, God was showing me some things. He was showing me some things about people, places, and things. And I came to an understanding that setting boundaries and keeping them is okay. It's okay for me to want something for my life just as hard as I fought for everybody else to have it on my back, on my name, on my credibility, on my work ethic, whatever the case may be. And so this time around, I just remember saying, I want a fresh start. I just want a new beginning with God. I just want to not have those distractions. I want to be focused. And so the second day of the fast, I called the girl and I said, hey, I'm coming to Houston and, I don't know nothing about it, but can you tell me where do you think would be the best place? And here's my situation and this is what I'm going through. And she literally said, well, I live in downtown Houston and for me, it's for my job, but for your situation, I suggest you go to this place. Y'all, why was it the same exact place that me and my daughter had talked about and researched in March? So that was my second confirmation. So I remember calling my girlfriend. I'm like, girl, call me. And she called me and I missed her call. Then I had to wait the next day. And I'm texting like, girl, I need to speak to you ASAP. Like at this point, there was like this urgency inside of me. Now keep in mind, y'all, I ain't have no resources. I ain't know where I was going and how I was going to get there. I just knew that where I was, I didn't have the money to keep us there either. So the story of the four leprous men, where they said we either gonna stay here and we gonna die, or we gonna go and we gonna die. That's kind of the scenario I was in because I literally had nothing. So at that point, I had nothing but God. I'll say it like that. I had nothing but God because though I couldn't pay my rent the way that I desired to, y'all, and trust me, I'm gonna pay this man every dime that I owe him because that is his money and he deserve it, and everybody else that has been a blessing to me. When I get on my feet, just like I told people when I was down, I said, do not get comfortable seeing me in this place because I will not be in this place too much longer. Like I had been in survival mode for so long that I couldn't even recognize that I was in survival mode. All the hustling and the bustling, and Kimmy can do everything. That's cute. But why I wasn't panning out is because it was survival mode. It was not in alignment with God's will for me. I was doing what I needed to do to literally survive. So I became a great skill person. I don't even know what you want to call it, but I was able to tap into all of my gifts, all of my talents, and all of my skills. But the truth of the matter is, the reason why I felt heavy is because I was doing it in my own. I wasn't doing it because God was like, hey, do this and do that. No, I was up creating products, creating shirts, creating opportunities for myself that went nowhere because I did not know what to do. And it's not that I didn't believe God, I just was really uncertain. And as me and my friend Talitha said, like, I didn't have the tracking number to where God wanted me to go. So my biggest concern was like, okay, it wasn't so much leave or go someplace different. I've never been afraid to just get up and go. If God says it, then I'm going to do it. But my biggest thing is, Lord, where am I going to go? Like, this will be the first time in my life that I've ever moved that far away with my kids and just me. When my son was younger, my oldest son was 2 years old. He's almost 30 now, y'all. But I did it when I was probably about 19, but to do it now at 46 years old with three of my younger five, right? And just to go to a complete different state by myself where literally I just know this one person. So I finally got in touch with my girlfriend and I said, girl, what part of Houston do you live in? I need some help. And she opened her mouth and she was my third confirmation. And she said the same exact city. So, y'all, confirmation. The Lord says He will give you the confirmation in twos or threes. And on that second day of that fast, I got my third confirmation. When I tell you, the moment that I received that third confirmation, it was like the doors flew open. Supernaturally, the doors flew open. She was like, okay, over here in my development, they got some places. I can go and take a look for you. I'll do a tour. Like, I have been praying. I'm like, God, wherever you send me, I need somebody who is there that can hold my hand, because this was very unfamiliar. I didn't want to go to a place where I didn't know nobody. For me, I was petrified inside. I was scared inside because now my kids completely solely depend on me to do it in a different place, right? Not in a place that they've grew up for the past 10 years or the place where I've developed some sisterhood and community. Like, we're moving to a whole new place where I got to literally start over, and they're counting on me. They're counting on me, and I didn't want to fail them. If you like more videos like this, y'all, make sure that you do me a huge favor. Subscribe to this channel. Like it, comment, share, and turn on your post notifications so that you can be the first alerted when I update and upload new content for you guys. So now let's get back into the video. And so I was like, God, wherever you take me, Lord, I just need somebody that can hold my hand. And so He began to minister to me. He was like, listen, everybody's not going to be for you in the season, and everybody can't go with you in the season. If people oppose what you are saying you believe in, cut them off. Don't say anything else to them about it. If their conversation does not align up with where you are saying you want to go, they are not the people for you in the season. And I was just like, wow, that's going to be eliminating a lot of people, because people tend to not have the same faith that other people have. Like, I'm believing God for something for my life, and people who can't fathom that and beyond the natural will begin to speak things on you and begin to doubt that it was even God. And that's what happened to me. A lot of people didn't believe that it was God. They hey, do this, do that, do this, do that, do that, da 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 da, and gave me all their opinions, and y'all, ain't none of it work. There was only a few people that God used in that season to get me to this season where I am. And yes, I am still going through the motions. I am still kicking the residue. We are literally 3 weeks in as of yesterday of this video. We are 3 weeks here, and I'm still without a car. I have to raise money to get a car. It's been interesting to say the least, but it's been peaceful, and for that I thank God. So, even though I did not know where I was going, I just knew that when God told me, I was going to be all right, because God is a God of completion. And so I know that if He's going to start something, He's going to finish it. So not only did He give me the house, I know that the income is going to come. And guess what happened, y'all? The moment that I got my confirmation, My son is vacuuming the floor while I'm doing this video. So if y'all hear some bumping and he's vacuuming, okay? But the confirmation that I got, remember I told y'all the business has stopped. Remember I told y'all that the clients has stopped. Well, guess what? Right before, once we got our confirmation, do you know God blessed me with 3 virtual clients, that my deposit has been paid, that I was able to relocate, that I am here right now helping other people just like me get their kingdom businesses off the ground. And it was none of my own. And still to this day, I've been asked, what is it about Texas? God sent me to Texas. That's what it is. I want to be where the presence of God is. Bump all that holding on to what's familiar and comfortable and we've been here and da 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 da. I don't want none of that. All I want to do is be obedient. So, with that being said, y'all, I've already rambled on long enough about how we got from Georgia to Texas. Now, watch this video clip as you guys get to see me take my little venture in. And yes, I lost some of my video footage. So, y'all don't get to see all of it, but y'all do get to see my journey and how excited I was. So, check out the next clip. All right, y'all. So, it is 3:42 a.m. in the morning, and I am on my way to the airport to go get the keys to my new home that God made a way for me and my children, a way out of no way, like signs, miracles, and wonders. And I'm just so pumped up and excited and hungry. I wish something was open because I want some food, but I'm just gonna go ahead and get to my destination safe, and I will see you guys in the air. All right, y'all, so I am in the airport, and if y'all know anything about Atlanta's airport, honey, it is so big. And so I done walked probably about 20 to 30, probably about I don't know, I done walked a long time. So So I finally made it on the airplane, and big shout out to my neighbors who held down the kids for me while I was away on my 3 days trying to get everything situated for our move in Texas. As you guys can see, I wanted to make sure that I captured some scenery because God is just that amazing and He's so faithful to His promises. And as I was landing in Houston, it was still surreal to me what I was going to do. I just knew that I was in the Houston airport, got me a little rental car, picked up my keys, ran around, took care of business, got to the house, and here's the backyard, and here's a little bit of the inside of my house. But y'all know I ain't showing y'all all my business. And yes, Spirit was the move for the weekend. Y'all can say what y'all want, but Spirit is all right with me. Your girl is all right with Spirit. You hear me? Y'all, this trip was absolutely God's testament of His faithfulness, of signs, miracles, and wonders. I cannot wait to share with you guys the rest of this testimony. This was just a small piece, but there were so many people and so many pieces that were involved in this. But this is what I want to say to you. If I can encourage you to do anything, even if nobody else believes what you are believing for, baby, just trust God. I'm living proof. So until the next video, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and share, and I'll see you later.